Yo, what is going on, guys? And welcome back to 365 Analytics. And today we are going to do week 7 game picks and power rankings. And what a week we had last week. And before I get into that, if you guys enjoy, please like, subscribe. It would be greatly appreciated. But here we are today as we had a crazy day yesterday. Obviously, you saw the video I uploaded about Devontae Adams and Amari Cooper. We will talk about that more as we get into these games. But last week, we went 12 and 2 on game picks, and I had two losses. One was my upset of the week, the Jaguars over the Bears in London. The Bears won. And another one was the Raiders. I picked the Raiders over the Steelers. Last second, I switched it. I originally had the Steelers in the video, and then I switched it. So absolutely tragic stuff going on there. But that brings our record to 53 and 39 and 2 and 4 on both the locks and the upsets. Let's kill it this week again. So starting off with Thursday night football, we have a pretty unpredictable game. We got a lot of stuff going on here. A lot of unpredictable games on the schedule this week. But first of all, we have the Broncos and the Saints. It is Sean Payton's return to the Superdome, his return to New Orleans, and this will be interesting because both these teams are pretty evenly matched. I'd say this will be like a decent, like mid-scoring game where both teams will put up a fight, and this should be close and contested. So maybe we're in for a good Thursday night football game. But the Broncos, their offense pretty sluggish. They're coming off a bad loss to the Chargers, obviously. No Patrick Surtain on the defensive side, but the defense nonetheless has been very, very good. As for the Saints, they are banged up. The defense has been sluggish for the Saints, allowing 51 points to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers last week. And for the wide receiver core, no Chris Olave, still in concussion protocol, and no Rashid Shaheed undergoing surgery for his meniscus. So Spencer Rattler's wide receiver core consists of Cedric Wilson, and those are his top two receivers. I think he has one more there, maybe a rookie or something, but Cedric Wilson and Bub Means are his receivers. Nonetheless, a primetime home crowd in the Superdome. I will be taking the Saints. This game's really tough to pick. This game was really tough to pick. Nonetheless, I'm not gonna shy away from that. But the Saints have lost four straight now. It's a primetime game at home in the Superdome. The crowd should be rocking, and I think they get the win at home. And this is a big Alvin Kamara game, I'd say. So I think they get it done at home. Going to our finale in London, the last game of the 2024 NFL London series, we have the Patriots and the Jaguars. This is a tough game. Both teams 1-5. Drake May had three touchdowns last week. Pretty good debut for the New England Patriots despite the loss to Houston, Jacksonville. I had confidence in the London Jags last week to beat the Bears. That was my upset of the week, but they failed me. They showed up in the first quarter. After that, they gave up and they friddled. Caleb Williams absolutely tore them up, and many expect Drake May to do the same. I envision that this will be a pretty split pick. This is obviously a neutral site game. I think it'll be probably 50-50 across the board, across the country on who people have winning this game. But I know I'm going to fall into this trap again. And I know I've picked them a lot this season, and I had confidence in them going in. I really did. I had confidence in them to be a solid team and rebound from the collapse they had last season, but it doesn't look like that. But I'm picking them again. I'm picking the Jacksonville Jaguars to get this one done. I mean, the bottom line here is if they don't get this done, I envision Doug Peterson to be fired on the plane on the flight back from London before they even hit ground in the United States. I expect Doug Peterson to be fired if they lose this game. But I think Doug Peterson keeps his job for at least a little while longer, and they beat New England. Coming up next, we have a battle of the birds, and this is spicy. Seattle and Atlanta. Both these teams always play close. It's always a battle in these teams throughout the 2010s with Russell Wilson and Matt Ryan until now. These teams always play close, and when these teams meet, it's always a fun game. The Seattle Seahawks started 3-0. Now they're 3-3. They lost last week to the 49ers on Thursday. They are coming off the mini bye week in Mercedes-Benz Stadium. They are playing the Falcons. Kirk Cousins, they're on a roll right now. They're 4-2. Defense is playing solid. Falcons look pretty good right now. Algier and Bijan are really good together, and Kirk Cousins playing good ball. Darnell Mooney's playing very good ball, and those guys are rolling right now. So we'll see how that continues. But the Seahawks, they've lost three in a row. They're on a mini. They're coming off a mini bye. The right side of that offensive line has problems. The offensive line overall has some problems, but the right side, especially with Stone Forsythe, has been the worst offensive lineman, maybe the worst starter in the league by far. So yeah, I don't know. This is gonna be a tough game. This is gonna be a tough game to pick, but I don't know if I want to fall in this trap. But I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. They've lost three in a row. They've lost three in a row. They're coming off a mini bye week. Give me the Seattle Seahawks to win this game and get their first win in a little bit. They're gonna need it right now because it's crunch time for them. They don't want to go below 500 after starting 3-0. Mike McDonald knows they need this win. Everyone in that building knows they need this win, and I think they get it. So yeah, Geno Smith, the leader in the league in passing yards right now, they continue it. And then we have a 1 o'clock CBS game. Not much to say in this game. Tennessee is 1-4. I expected Tennessee to start a little bit better than they have, but they've looked pretty disappointing. Will Levis hasn't looked like that good of a quarterback, dropping a game to the Indianapolis Colts last week in Orchard Park, Buffalo, to take on the Bills, who now have Amari Cooper. Amari Cooper is now a Buffalo Bill. As I said in my video yesterday, he was traded to the Bills from the Browns, and man, Josh Allen has his number one receiver, and I don't really think that affects the outcome of this game. My opinion's the same, no matter if they got him or not. But I think the Buffalo Bills are gonna win this game. Not much really to say here. They're the better team. They're at home. They beat Tennessee. They should beat Tennessee, but we've seen crazier things in the NFL, so you never know. And then we have the Battle of Ohio. It's Bengals Browns. It's Bengals Browns again, people. It is Browns week. As for the Bengals, coming off a win against the Giants that didn't look very convincing. I haven't talked about it yet because it was my video yesterday was about the trades, but it didn't look very convincing. Offense looked sluggish, defense looked much better, but it is Daniel Jones, so you have to take it with a grain of salt. In Cleveland, we all know how the Bengals in Cleveland have gone in the past few years. We haven't won in Cleveland since 2017. After the loss week one last season in Cleveland, I took an oath to myself that I said I would never pick the Bengals in Cleveland again because playing in Cleveland's their kryptonite. The Bengals don't win in Cleveland. They haven't. They haven't since Andy Dalton in 2017. And they got to kick the tires on this right now. I know I said that last year, but looking at the state of these two teams right now, Nick Chubb is making his debut for the season, making his first game since the gruesome injury last year. I'm picking the Bengals. Deshaun Watson, based on the state of these two teams right now, Deshaun Watson has looked like the one of the worst starting quarterbacks we have ever seen. To be honest, what we have ever seen play in the NFL. That's a terrible thing. He's looking bad. Burrow and the Bengals, I think this is the perfect time to kill two birds in one stone. Put an end to the Brown season, drop them to 1-6. They are done at that point. As for us, we can get to 3-4. It is a must win, obviously. Division game in Cleveland versus a really bad Browns team right now. The Bengals have to kick the tires on this Cleveland problem. And if they don't do it now, they might never do it. So it has to happen right now. I think they get it done, and I'm picking the Bengals, even though I said I'd never pick them in Cleveland again. I'm taking the Bengals. And then we have an interesting quarterback matchup and matchup overall. We have the Houston Texans going to Green Bay, Lambeau Field, the soon to be frozen tundra. Shout out Chris Berman on Monday Night Football. But the soon to be frozen tundra Green Bay. Jordan Love hosting CJ Stroud in an interesting young quarterback matchup between two rising young stars. In Lambeau, the Texans, they are 5-1. They're playing some good football. They're coming off a win versus New England Patriots. Joe Mixon's playing nuclear. Nico Collins obviously still out for this game, but he is still the leader in receiving yards through 6 weeks. Tank Dell had a good game last week. Obviously, Stephon Diggs is still there. CJ Stroud's playing good ball still. I wouldn't say it's as good as last season, but he's playing good ball. Green Bay, Jordan Love's playing really, really good ball. Jordan Love's if he didn't miss 2 games, he'd be an MVP candidate right now. Packers, obviously, it's tough. It's tough because I don't know. This quarterback matchup, either of these quarterbacks can win. Green Bay's wearing the icy whites at home. I have to take both these quarterbacks are so good, man. Both of them are such good players, and I could see either of them coming out of this big game with a win. But I'm going to take the 4-2 Packers to win this game at home. The NFC North is on an absolute tear right now, all 4 teams. And I'm going to take the Packers to win this game. And then we have another reasonably tough game to predict, some may say. It is the Dolphins and the Colts in Indianapolis. Some may say this is a difficult game to predict. Obviously, no Tua Tagovailoa this week as he is still on IR with a concussion. Maybe he returns next week. Mike McDaniel did say there would be no Week 7 return for Tua, but next week is a possibility. I believe it's Miami Buffalo next week, so that could be interesting. And then it's in Indianapolis where the Colts, Anthony Richardson practiced in full today. It is Wednesday. He practiced in full. Jonathan Taylor said he could potentially be back for this game. Anthony Richardson hasn't looked very good as a starter, but at home versus Tyler Huntley, probably, I gotta take the Colts. Joe Flacco, Anthony Richardson. I don't care. I don't care if Taylor plays or not. I'm taking the Colts. But fully healthy with Richardson and Taylor, they should take care of business at home and get it done. Michael Pittman is questionable, but they should get it done. And then we have potentially the game of the day. I mean, potentially the game of the day in a day where we have the Super Bowl rematch. That's a crazy thing to say. It is the 4-1 Detroit Lions at the 5-0 Minnesota Vikings coming off a bye week. The Detroit Lions absolutely blew the brakes off the Dallas Cowboys last week, winning by like 40 points. Jared Goff played well. Jameson Williams played well. Amon Ra, the O line played well. The D line played well. Obviously, the gruesome leg injury to Aiden Hutchinson was absolutely heartbreaking. Prayers to him. The leader in the NFL in sacks goes down for the year with a broken tibia. And it's just absolutely heartbreaking to see that guy go down, man. Such a beast. Big loss for Detroit, but man, prayers to Aiden Hutchinson and yeah, hope he gets well. But Detroit, they're 4-1. They're humming right now. They've won 3 in a row. Minnesota is well rested off the bye. The last time we saw them take the field was in London against the Jets, where they squeaked past Aaron Rodgers. Obviously, division foes, NFC North foes, so these two will play each other twice. But I'm going to take the Detroit Lions to hand the Minnesota Vikings loss number 1. I think this is where it happens. I think Dan Campbell and these guys are on a roll. They want this division. They are absolutely hungry for it. And I think they get it done in Minnesota. I think they show that they are the best team in this division. And yeah, I think Jared Goff has to play some good ball here, and the running back duo, they call them Sonic and Knuckles with David Montgomery and Jameer Gibbs. But I think Detroit wants to come out in US Bank Stadium and show that they are the team to beat in the NFC North and they get this done and go to 5-1. And then we have the last game of the 1 o'clock window. It is Saquon Barkley's return. It is the Philadelphia Eagles now at full strength with Hurts, Barkley, AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, all the weapons at full strength back in the fold. But they did lose Jordan Mailata, their star left tackle, potentially out a few weeks. Out this week, potentially out a few more. Obviously one of the best tackles in the entire league. That's a big loss, but the weapons are at full strength. And the Giants, who just lost to the Bengals last week, that Giants defensive line's really good, man. Obviously, no Kayvon Thibodeau. He's on IR right now, but Bobby Okereke, Brian Burns, Dexter Lawrence, those guys are beasts. That D line's good. Held Joe Burrow. They pretty much locked Joe Burrow down for a good, or that offense, I should say, down for a good portion of the game. Higgins and Chase had 70 yards, but Burrow, obviously, the crazy scrambling touchdown was very cool. But that was about it for the offense firing the entire game. So, yeah, but Philly, they almost lost to the Browns last week. It was a pretty pathetic performance for them, to be honest with you. They squeaked past the Deshaun Watson Browns. They were my lock of the week last week. I expected them to look more commanding, but they didn't look very well. They kind of squeaked past them, but this is a tough one. This is a tough one. This could go either way. It's a division game, rivalry, Saquon's return. Saquon's came out and said today they does not expect the Giants fans to boo him. I think different. I think there'll be some boos for Saquon, but I'm gonna take the Eagles to go to 4-2. I expect this to be a close game. I mean, the Eagles haven't shown me anything convincing yet that shows me that they are a good football team or a really good football team, a Super Bowl contending football team, but Sirianni was Nick Sirianni. That's a whole different story, and that might be for another whole entire video to talk about Nick Sirianni. But doing a lot of like yelling at Eagles fans, I don't know. I don't know about Nick Sirianni, man. I don't know. I don't know if he's the guy. There's a lot of stuff going on with him. He gets involved in too much drama. I don't know what to say, but that's for a whole other day. We'll talk about that. Maybe we'll talk about that maybe next week in the Eagles and Bengals face off in the game picks video. But yeah, we'll see about that. And then we have a battle on the West Coast as the Raiders at 2-4 take on the 1-4 Rams, well rested off the bye. I believed in the Raiders last week. I don't really have much to say about this matchup. Both teams pretty banged up. Obviously, the Raiders have no Devontae Adams. The Rams, they're banged up. Cooper Kupp potentially returning this week, though, is a big boost. I mean, I don't really have much to say about this game besides that I'm taking Sean McVay at home. I'm taking Sean McVay at home. That's really the main thing I have to say about this game. I think that both teams are in a bad spot right now. Both teams need to win really, really bad if they want to revive their seasons. But the Rams are 1-4. They have one win at home. I'm taking Sean McVay any day of the week, well rested off a bye. So give me the Rams. Nothing else to say. And then we have Andy Dalton and the Carolina Panthers. Still another week of Andy Dalton going to Washington to take on Jane Daniels and the Commanders coming off a loss. I mean, let's get this straight. At Northwest Stadium, the young phenom Jaden Daniels. I'm not picking against Jaden Daniels. These are two back-to-back easy picks here. I do not see any upsets or really any crazy things like that happening. I'm not picking against Jaden Daniels at home against one of the worst teams in the league right now. I'm just not. Um, I expect the Commanders to go to 5-2. I mean, I think they might be a little bit worse than their record shows. But hey, the record is their record. They're 5-2. If they win this game, they're 5-2. I mean, they're 4-2 right now. But if they win this game, they're 5-2. I obviously picked the Ravens last week because I couldn't see a young Jaden Daniels going into Baltimore and winning, which he did. So yeah, those two games pretty easy for me. I don't have much else to say about them. And then we have probably the game of the week. You could argue Detroit, Minnesota. Potentially the game of the year right here. This is the game that on Of all 256, is it? Of all 256 games on the schedule, they pinpointed one. And this is the one that everybody pinpointed. This game is 425 on Fox. Burkhardt and Brady on the call. Nationally televised Fox late window game. It's the Super Bowl rematch, obviously. Mahomes versus Purdy. These two met in February, and oh boy, it was a treat. An overtime game. Obviously, everyone watched the Super Bowl. I shouldn't even have to say much about it. McCole Hardman catching the game-winning touchdown in an absolute banger of a Super Bowl. One of the best I've ever watched, personally. Probably not the best, but one of the best I've ever watched. I'd say it's top five. Man, this will be good. In Santa Clara, in Levi's Stadium. Both these teams, man, both these teams have looked a little down this year. I'm not gonna lie. The Chiefs are undefeated. The Chiefs are undefeated. Your record is your record. I will always say it. But man, they have not looked up to par. They are coming off well rested off the bye, and Andy Reid is usually very, very good off the bye. But going into Santa Clara to play the Niners at home in San Francisco on a Super Bowl rematch game, I know there's still no Christian McCaffrey, obviously. But Brock Purdy's still there. Trent Williams is still there. Dominic Puny, the rookie guard from Kansas, is playing amazing football. He's in Pro Bowl conversations as a rookie, looking like an absolute steal offensive lineman for them. Obviously, Debo and Ayuk still there. That defense is still there. Both teams coming off well rested off a bye. Andy Reid usually is in trends to be the better head coach coming off byes. And I'm not saying I won't change this pick during the week. I will consider changing this pick during the week because I'll have to really, really think about it before Sunday comes and really, really think if I want to bet on Andy Reid off the bye. But I'm going to pick both undefeated teams to go down in one singular week as I am picking the Niners at home to get this done and get their revenge, kinda, because it's a regular season game, but kinda get their revenge for what happened in February and win this game. And then we have Sunday night football. It is the Jets with newly acquired Davante Adams going into Acrisure Stadium to play the Pittsburgh Steelers and potentially Russell Wilson. Can you believe that? A lot of people call this a pretty boring Sunday night football game. There's a lot of decent storylines around here. I mean, we have Devontae Adams making his Jets debut, Rodgers and Adams, a poetry in motion duo in Green Bay coming back. Now that we're gonna get our debut of the receiver duo of Devontae Adams and Garrett Wilson. The Jets obviously 2-4 coming off a loss to the Bills on Monday night. And then Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh 4-2. Mike Tomlin said that Russell Wilson's going to practice with the first team and take a look at Russell Wilson potentially being the starter this week. Crazy stuff we have here after the football that Justin Fields is playing. He hasn't played like over the top amazing football, but he's playing consistent football. It's enough for the Steelers to win games. So a lot of people are backlashing Mike Tomlin and the Steelers about this decision. But I mean, on the road, riding through like those two, Rodgers and Adams, man, I missed them. That duo was something else. Literally poetry in motion watching those two play football. Their first game back in front of the whole entire world on Sunday Night Football. Give me number eight. Give me number eight. I mean, the first game back of Rodgers and Adams on Sunday Night Football. Adams won the Pat McAfee show. He was already in New York. He was ready for it. Give me the Jets to go to 3-4. And then we have Monday Night Football, a doubleheader. An ESPN Plus doubleheader. The Chargers and the Cardinals game is on ESPN Plus. The Baltimore and Tampa Bay game is on regular ESPN, but we have a doubleheader nonetheless. I hope ESPN Plus offers multi-view because I want to see both these games at once, but I'm gonna buy ESPN Plus specifically for the Chargers game. I better be able to watch both these games in multi-view because they are both on ESPN Plus. But it's Baltimore and Tampa Bay. As for the Ravens, coming off 4 wins in a row, they're on fire. And Lamar's probably the MVP frontrunner right now, as hot as any quarterback in the entire league. Tampa Bay coming off dropping a 50 burger on the Saints. Both teams hot right now, both offenses. Chef's kiss, great. Sean Tucker played a damn good game for the Bucks last week. Him and Bucky Irving look great. It's a tough game to pick. I mean, I could see this game going either way. Probably a split pick across America again. Like a lot of close games this week. Probably a split pick across America. Te- a lot of people have both teams winning this game. But the Ravens have won 4 in a row. I think they're due. I think they're due for a loss. I'm gonna pick the Bucks at home to win this game. Here we go with another one. I could see myself switching the pick during the week. I really could see myself switching to Baltimore during the week or before Monday even starts, if depending on my picks lock, or depending on my picks look, or depending on how I feel, or depending on how I feel into the matchup. I don't know. I could see myself switching to Baltimore, but for now, I'm gonna ride with Tampa Bay, and I'm gonna ride with the home team take down Lamar Jackson, the Ravens, and Baker Mayfield to go to 5-2. And then we have our last game of the weekend, a 9 p.m. EST kickoff, which is absolutely horrible. A 9 p.m. EST kickoff. This game will end at 12:30 almost probably. This game's gonna run late, but you know I'm watching it because I'm addicted to football. We have the Chargers and the Cardinals, two very high-powered offenses with Herbert and Kyler. Cardinals wearing the blackout jerseys for Monday Night Football. This should be a pretty high scoring game. I could see both these teams putting up a decent amount of points. Obviously, the Chargers defense still no Asante Samuel back there. The Cardinals, they've played a very, very tough schedule to start the year. They've played some of the most high powered offenses for a pretty frail defense. They've played some of the most high powered offenses outside of the Rams in the entire NFL to start the year. So they're 2-4, but they've had a pretty tough schedule. In Glendale, I'm taking them to pick this one up. I think they get it done. I just think both these offenses are going to put up a lot of points, and I could really, really see this being a down to the wire 34-31 game. Both defenses are pretty like have holes. Chargers defense looked good last week against Denver until the fourth quarter came around. Denver started picking it up, but I don't know. I think that both these offenses are going to put up a good amount of points, and I'm taking the Cardinals. And those are the game picks. It is New Orleans, Jacksonville, Seattle, Buffalo, Cincinnati, Green Bay, Indianapolis, Detroit, Philadelphia, Los Angeles, Washington, San Francisco, Jets, Buccaneers, Cardinals. We have 15 games this week with only 2 bye weeks. Let's improve this record. I tend to notice that a lot of people had really good records in game picks last week. So a lot of favorites won. A lot of toss ups this week. Let's go. Let's have a good record. I'm really hoping for it. As for my lock of the week, it's going to be Buffalo over Tennessee. And my upset of the week is going to be Seattle over Atlanta. So yeah, I can bold these after, I think, honestly. Like I can bold them. I can bold metallic them after. But yeah, you get the point. Those are my picks. And yeah, let's get right into the power rankings now. And here are the week 7 power rankings. And this is probably the week I've had the least movement yet, to be honest. The top four stay the exact same. Vikings and Chiefs obviously on bye week. Lions blowing out the Cowboys have no justification in putting them below number 3, and the Texans at 4. Those all stay the same. Bills and Ravens both go up 1, and same with the Falcons and Buccaneers. 4 straight go up 1, just move up 1 spot. Commanders at 9, they go down 4 at the loss. Have to put them below these teams, but don't take the -4 too far, honestly. Packers stay the same. Niners go up 3. Steelers go up 1. Bears go up 3. Eagles go down two, but if they lose this week to the Giants, they could be in the 20s, and I'm not even kidding. Chargers at 15, Seahawks -1, Cardinals stay the same, Colts +6. Listen, Colts +6 seemed pretty drastic even to me. Like they kind of squeaked past the Titans, but I had to put them above these teams like the Cowboys, Saints, Broncos, and yeah, I had to put them above those teams. I mean, I had to. Like they've won a few in a row now, and obviously I just have to. I have to be able to put them above them. The Cowboys suffering a bad loss, still no Parsons, so I mean no DeMarcus Lawrence. I mean, the Saints -2. They've lost four straight. Broncos -1. They just lost. Jets +1. That was after the Devontae Adams edition. Have to stay there. And my Bengals -2. A lot of people might be mad about this, but I'm a realist. I am a realist. I'm a realist when it comes to football. And when the Bengals squeaked past the Giants, I have to put them at 23. I mean, the Giants aren't like an over the top good football team. A win is a win on the record, obviously. They're 2-4. A win is a win. No doubt about that. But I'm gonna keep them at 23. Beat the Browns this week. They'll be back up in the teens. Giants one spot below us. Rams coming off the bye. Titans, Raiders stay the same. Panthers go up three because they scored a lot of points against the Falcons in their defense, and they looked pretty good offensively. Dolphins +1 on the bye week. Browns at 30. They're teetering. They could be going down pretty big if they lose this week. Jags -6 with the loss in London, and Patriots stay the same at number 32. And those are the power rankings. Let me know if y'all enjoyed this video. A like, a like and subscribe would be greatly appreciated. And I'll see y'all next week. Have a nice night.